Have you noticed that opening your phone this week feels less like checking the news and more like walking into a fighting ring? We are only 15 days into January 2026 and the world has already chosen violence. It is not just you, there's a pattern here. In geopolitics, we have moved from diplomacy to public arrest. In technology, algorithms are literally stripping people of their dignity. And in cinema, the biggest upcoming movie is ironically titled Toxic, sparking a culture war that proves the title right. In this video, we are connecting these three dots to explain why everything feels so aggressive right now. We aren't just looking at the events, we are looking at the shift in psychology. Welcome to the era of zero-sum games. Segment 1. Geopolitics, the theater of humiliation. Let us pause for a moment because what happened in Venezuela was not an isolated incident. It was a signal. In earlier decades, even hostile leaders were removed quietly through exile, backroom deals, or silent pressure. Today, power operates differently. Leaders are arrested on camera. Images are leaked deliberately, and within minutes, geopolitics turns into spectacle. The goal is no longer just removal, it is humiliation. Power now needs to be seen humiliating others in order to remain powerful. Now look beyond Venezuela and observe the global pattern. Sanctions are no longer narrow diplomatic tools. They have become full-scale economic siege warfare. Iran has lived under economic strangulation for decades. Afghanistan's foreign reserves were frozen overnight. Syria has been sanctioned into humanitarian collapse. Russia is being targeted not only militarily but economically, culturally, and digitally. Modern sanctions do not just punish governments, they punish entire populations. Recent Greenland issue where USA wants to take control just reflects same mentality. This is war without declaration. Siege warfare conducted through balance sheets and banking systems. And then comes the number that should make everyone uncomfortable, 500%. A 500% tariff is not an economic measure, it is a threat. Normal tariffs sit in a single digits. Trade wars escalate to 20 or 50%. 500% signals economic annihilation. It sends a clear message to countries like India, China, and Brazil. Your sovereignty ends where our strategic interests begin. Energy security is no longer a national right. It is a moral test imposed by power. This is where something dangerous happens, the death of the middle ground. There was once a space in global politics called non-alignment. Not east, not west, but independent. That space is being erased. Neutrality is now treated as disloyalty. Trade is framed as political obedience. Refusing to choose a side is treated as crime. The middle ground is no longer tolerated. It is being systematically destroyed. And here is why this matters. Humiliation does not produce cooperation. It produces resentment. When nations are pushed into corners, they do not become peaceful. They become desperate. Desperation accelerates arms races, hardens alliances, and multiplies proxy wars. History shows us this pattern again and again, yet we continue to repeat it. What makes this era even more dangerous is that geopolitics now resembles reality television. Notice the language: shock and awe, maximum pressure, red lines, crushing sanctions. This is not the vocabulary of diplomacy, it is the vocabulary of entertainment. When geopolitics becomes content, humiliation becomes currency. Power is no longer exercised quietly, it is performed publicly. And this is why the word feels more toxic. Power has become performative, punishment has become public, neutrality has become illegal, dialogue is treated as weakness. We are no longer managing conflicts, we are staging them. A world without middle ground is a world permanently on edge. And a world that chooses humiliation over negotiation is not moving toward peace. It is preparing itself for endless conflict. No segment 2, Tech versus State. If geopolitics is about bullying, tech today is about negligence. And nowhere is this clearer than in the current AI chaos. What happened with Grok was not a technical glitch or an unfortunate incident. It was a design choice. Modern AI systems are built to maximize engagement, virality, and shock value, with safety added later, if at all. When a platform launches an AI with features like spicy mode before robust safety rails, it sends a clear message. Attention matters more than consequences. And when those consequences arrive, they are not abstract. Real humans pay the price. Public figures and private individuals alike found AI being used to undress them digitally, sexualize them without consent, and turn them into viral objects of humiliation. As flagged by Indian MPs, this was not an edge case or rare misuse. The AI was accepting such prompts by design. This is not free expression, this is digital violence, automated, scalable, and irreversible. This is why the government response matters. When India threatens to revoke safe harbor under Section 79 of the IT Act, it is not issuing mild warning. It is pointing a loaded weapon. Safe harbor protects platforms from legal liability for user-generated content. Remove it, and every post becomes potential lawsuit. Every failure of moderation a legal risk. The message from the state is blunt. If platforms behave like publishers, they will be treated like publishers. What we are seeing is a toxic but predictable cycle. Tech moves fast, releasing half-baked AI systems because speed beats caution. Society absorbs the damage, especially women, minorities, and vulnerable groups. Then the state intervenes, not gently but forcefully, because the harm is already done. And when regulation arrives, platforms suddenly rediscover the language of free speech and overreach. This pattern is not unique to India. The European Union is tightening AI rules aggressively. United States of America reacts after every major AI scandal with hearings and probes. And China regulates AI before it even reaches the public. Everywhere, the same story repeats. Platform push limits, society breaks, and government clamps down. This is not authoritarianism by default, it is reactive governance. At this point, the debate is no longer really about free speech. Free speech assumes a human speaker, intent, and accountability. AI has none of these. What we are dealing with is automated harm at platform scale, with responsibility outsourced and consequences denied. When harm becomes automated, regulation becomes inevitable. Real toxicity lies in the collapse of trust. Users no longer trust platforms. Governments no longer trust each companies. Platforms do not trust governments. And caught in the middle are citizens, navigating an internet that is increasingly litigious, fragmented, over-regulated, yet still unsafe. When platforms behave like reckless teenagers, the state steps in like a strict parent, and result is not freedom, it is chaos with paperwork. The AI Wild West was fun while it lasted. But when innovation forgets responsibility, regulation does not ask politely. Now coming to third and final segment, cinema, the hypocrisy of alpha culture. Cinema today loves one idea more than anything else, the alpha male. He is aggressive, emotionally unavailable, dominant, violent, and always in control. He does not negotiate, he concurs. And we are told this is strength. But here is the hypocrisy. The same culture that lectures society about sensitivity, consent, and equality routinely celebrates men on screen who break every one of those values and calls it cinema. art or mass entertainment. Take recent male-dominated films like Animal. The protagonist is violent, obsessive, emotionally abusive and destructive, yet framed as charismatic, powerful and desirable. His rage is aestheticized, his trauma is romanticized, his dominance is sold as depth. When he hurts others, the camera does not question him, it glorifies him. This is where the hypocrisy lies. If such behavior appears in real life, society calls it toxic. When it appears on screen, it becomes alpha. Cinema claims it is only reflecting reality. But reputation is not reflection, it is conditioning. When audiences repeatedly see men rewarded for aggression, emotional numbness, and control, message is embedded quietly but powerfully. Empathy is weakness, vulnerability is unattractive, and dominance is masculinity. And this does not stop at men. Women in these narratives are often reduced to trophies to be protected, possessions to be controlled, or moral props to justify male violence. They exist not as full individuals, but as emotional fuel for the alpha's journey. This is not empowerment, this is patriarchy rebranded as style. What makes it more dangerous is the double standard. Cinema will condemn misogyny loudly in interviews, award speeches, and social media campaigns, but monetize it silently on screen. Violence against women is criticized in theory, but eroticized in slow motion. Control is renamed intensity. Abuse is softened into passion. The alpha male narrative also lies to men. It tells them that anger is strength, silence is maturity, domination is respect. But in reality, this produces men who are emotionally stunted, socially isolated, and constantly threatened by the idea of losing power. The so-called alpha is always at war with others and with himself. Cinema rarely shows the real cost of this masculinity. Broken relationships, cycles of violence, emotional emptiness, intergenerational trauma. Instead, the alpha walks away undefeated, while the damage is left off screen. This is why cinema matters. Because culture shapes behavior before laws ever do. Before politics radicalizes people, movies normalize the mindset. Before violence appears on the street, it is rehearsed on the screen. The hypocrisy of alpha culture is this. It sells domination as confidence, cruelty as charisma, and emotional absence as strength, while pretending it has nothing to do with the toxicity spreading through society. And finally, nothing sums up 2026 better than the teaser for the movie literally named Toxic, starring Yash. Released on Jan 8th, the teaser shows Yash smoking, guns blazing, and intimate scenes in a car. Standard action stuff, right? Why is this toxic? Because it reveals that hyper masculinity is the only currency that matters right now. The industry, even the critics, are realizing that alpha content prints money. We are trapped in a loop where we complain about toxicity in society, but we pre-book tickets for it in theatre. We are funding the very culture we claim to hate. Cinema does not just entertain, it teaches. And right now, it is teaching a generation that power matters more than empathy. And that is one of the most toxic lessons of all time. So, why is everything turning toxic? Because in 2026, nuance is dead. In geopolitics, you must pick a side, US or zero. In technology, you are either a censor or anarchist. In movies, you are either woke or alpha. If you want to survive this year, you need to curate your inputs. Stop doom scrolling the For You page that mixes these three toxic streams. The word is loud. Your mind does not have to be. Do not forget to like and subscribe. Jai Hind.